Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
This is what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Becker coming to you with a special segment today with the Reyes family. Great people, great family, and I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to sit down and chop it up with them today. And so it's truly going to be a treat. So get ready. But first, I want to let them come through and introduce themselves, and we'll just go, oldest to youngest. And so we'll start with Susanna, if you don't mind introducing yourself and tell where you are and what it is you do.
Absolutely. So, hello, my name is Donna Reyes Lee. I currently reside in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I have over 15 years of training and development and e-learning and technology experience. And currently, I'm actually serving as a career coach and mentor, and am serving as a contract trainer for Microsoft Office and professional development courses. So I do a little bit of consulting on the side. So that's kind of where I am.
All right. Joanna, do you mind going next and talk to us about, where you are and what it is you do?
No problem. I guess that means I'm old. All right. I am Joanna Reyes Zeno, and I also live in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and I am a life coach, personal and professional life coach, and I also double as a sales director as well, working for PepsiCo. And I grew up here in Louisiana, but have certainly worked in my fair share of companies and traveled my fair share, and have been back in New Orleans probably for about almost 9 or 10 years now, amazingly. I went to school in New Orleans, went to the University of New Orleans, and left home right after that, and worked for a few companies, and along the way got my master's degree at Columbia University. So my passion is really helping people to be better. I have a small business called Open Eyes Coaching, and my goal is to be able to continually open people's eyes to their greatness, and open people's eyes to things that they need to see, that if they address, they can succeed in achieving their goals, objectives, and results.
That's good stuff. Well, let's go with and I was told the next two are twins, and I was told that Raymond is the oldest. So let's go with Raymond.
All right. Well, my name is Ramon Reyes. I actually live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm still a New Orleans Saints fan. I will claim that all day, every day. But I currently serve as general manager of a property here in Atlanta. But I too, and it's interesting because we're in two different industries, but similar to Joanna, I think our purpose in life is to serve others, and I'm fortunate enough to do it every day here at the property, and was fortunate enough to work in this industry, or have been fortunate enough to work in this industry for a long time, and work my way up and learn a lot along the way, and work with a lot of great people. And I always like to tell everyone that our main role here is to ensure that everyone who comes through the doors here is made to feel like we welcome them into our home. And through that, again, we're serving them and creating these positive memories. I also am fortunate to do some nonprofit work and or serve on boards for two nonprofit organizations. One that serves the victims of domestic violence and trauma, and another that focuses on kids with special abilities or disabilities, and we're working to build a camp here for them in Georgia that is going to create a lot of positive memories down the line as well.
Man, that is amazing. That's good stuff right there. All right, let's go with Jerry.
All right, well, hello, I'm Jerry Reyes, and my path may sound very similar to my brother's. We're twins, but we're also twins in terms of career as well. So I also live in New Orleans, just like my sisters, or one of my sisters, but I've been fortunate enough to be in the hospitality industry for well over 20 years. I currently serve as the general manager over at the Westin in New Orleans, and also have the great privilege of also being an adjunct professor over at the University of New Orleans in the hospitality industry. So for me, that is truly a benefit because I get to hopefully help some folks that are on a similar path that I was on, or my brother was on at our age, or at when we were in college, and hopefully help them on a path to success, and help them really be a true benefit to this industry. Hopefully, I can be a small part of that. But definitely also have a great passion for serving others as well. I think that this industry also allows us to do that in a lot of ways because we serve guests, but we also serve our internal guests as well. And that comes in many forms and fashions through helping them along their career path, but also helping them with whatever's going on in their lives personally as well. So this industry has truly allowed me the opportunity to do that as well.
Wow, I think I've said wow after every one of you guys, right? So, that's amazing. I said one of the two, but I think it's awesome the things that you guys are doing to help make our world a better place. I think with, and this is the addition versus multiplication. It's the one thing that I really look at. So, as one person, we can add value to our world. We can add things, but when you come together and you're a family that does those type of things, now it's multiplication. Now it multiplies, and the positive vibes, the the net of greatness, that you provide, to others. I think it's just amazing, and I know that your family members are super proud. And this brings us to your parents. I think, and as I am listening to you guys, speak, I'm just reflecting on, my upbringing and, the things sacrifices that, my mother made to raise us, and the discipline instilled, and, the boy, you better, all of that kind of stuff. And so, I'm looking at you guys because, like, I know that none of this success is not achieved without some of that into it. So talk to us about your parents, your upbringing, and let's just show some appreciation to them. And Susanna, if you want to do that, and then we'll just go around, again, like, oldest to youngest, and let you guys kind of comment on that and talk about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so we definitely had a great benefit, I think, in our parents who, when they first came to the country, they had no English.
So wait a minute, you said go back when they first came to the country, right?
Yes. So
Oh,
the Dominican
man.
Republic, and we're talking back in the 70s. Now I'm really old. I'm so sorry. How did I say that? So we're talking back in the 70s, and it was an interesting time, though. I think that they had it better than they knew, and they really didn't take advantage of it, which is a sad thing, because I think that they could be even better off than they were. However, what they did was, it was truly amazing. They came with no English. They came into this country and found jobs. And that is more so for the men's side. A lot of the women, what they ended up doing was they were homemakers, is what we called it back then, right? But as homemakers, they gave us everything. They gave us all of their time. They made sure that when we needed a ride to get back from school, because we stayed after school and didn't tell them, they'd pick us up. But what they did was ultimately they made sure that we knew that we were in this country and that where we came from wasn't better. So we were in better, but they wanted even more for us. So they painted the picture. They didn't know what that picture was, but they painted it for us and let us know that if we worked for it, if we took the education, the free education that we were being offered, that wasn't free necessarily in our country. Free didn't mean great in Dominican Republic. So if you paid for it, you can get a good education there. But here, it was free. So take advantage of the education. Know that you are going to do more than what we're doing. You don't want to be the homemaker per se. You don't want to work in what our parents, what most of the men did was work in the refineries, work in the hard labor jobs. And so they let us know, it was very transparent of, you don't want to do this. So make sure that you're in the books. Make sure that you're going to do more, be more. And I specifically remember my mom telling me, look, girl, you're lazy. You're probably going to need to get an education to pay somebody to do what you don't want to do.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Well, John, if you want to go.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I would call out is just what our parents couldn't give us from a education standpoint, right? They gave us in other ways. So I think they played to their strengths. They disciplined, right? They didn't know what we were studying, but they made darn sure that you studied it.
You're going to study.
Right?
Don't get your books.
They didn't know the English. They didn't know the math. They didn't know the complexity of what we were studying, but they put us in a place of discipline that we studied it. They also supported us on opportunities. They may not have known what gifted and talented was, right? But they supported it. They may not have known what all the clubs were that we were participating in. And there were a lot, especially on my part. My mom was definitely my taxi, right? But they supported it. They were there to support it with the discipline. And I always like to tell people, our parents couldn't help us with homework, right? They couldn't help us with homework. And there's a lot to be said for providing the discipline and the environment that fostered us to focus on it or find the resources that we needed to help us to be able to excel. And so, I would say to people out there, right, who say, well, my parents aren't there. They don't help me. They don't help me with the homework. That's not a good story. It's not a good story because it's not always necessary. And I think that that's where the core of it is. It's in the discipline and the support.
I love that. Discipline, support, and taxing.
Yeah, fantastic. Very much needed.
Yeah. Ramon, you're up, man.
Yeah, I think you'll notice a theme here because I've told this story on many occasions too. I remember days where I would come home and I tell my mom in particular, I was like, oh, she's like, do you have homework? I'm like, no, I don't have homework. Well, she'd hand me a newspaper. Say, okay, well, you need to read this newspaper, and I want you to basically summarize this back to me. Anytime I said there was no homework. So to Joanna's point, there were many occasions where, yes, they may have not known the content or the study that we were studying, but they instilled these great study habits and pushed us to be our very best. I remember the days where, I remember one day in particular where I saw my dad come home from work from a refinery, and it must have been 100 degrees outside. So he's working outside, comes home drenched. And my mom looks at me and says, hey, do you want to do that? You need to study so you don't have to work in refineries and put yourself through that type of work. You need to do better for yourself. So I think that pushing us, the discipline certainly was always part of the messaging. And on my dad's side, I remember him always, the constant theme was, hey, if you're going to do something, you do it right. You do it 100%. Never do anything halfway. I've
heard that one too. In my life.
That was constant. That, and if you borrow my tools, put them back. Those two things. It. But put them back where you found them. But in general, it was like, look, finish what you start. Always finish strong, and always do things with a great deal of attention to detail. Those were always the constant themes as part of my dad's message. And my mom was always just the one to push us, and not only in an effort to do better for ourselves, but always to focus on others. Focus on not just people that are within the family, but even outside the family. And I think that's where even at my core, because I feel like, again, our purpose in life is to serve others. That comes 100% from my mother, because that's been part of what her messaging has been to us pretty much our entire lives.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Jerry, you're up. What about you?
Well, I have to agree with everyone, and you'll notice a common theme to Ramon's point here, that discipline was at the core of everything that we received. Some of it was tough love, some of it was tough discipline, and a lot of it was just about just being disciplined in general in what we do. Ramon mentioned it as well, with regards to how our dad instilled that in us, and you can trust and believe that every time, whether it be that he was laying floor or cutting grass or putting siding on the building, my brother and I, as an example, were right there with him. And it wasn't because he necessarily needed the help. It was also to just ensure that we learned those skills, not so that we could use them as a trade in the future, but also just to instill that discipline in us of what it takes to start and complete something. And there's never been anything that I've seen or that I believe our dad can't build, because he just fixed so many things and built so many things that taught us a lesson in itself. I'll also say that also really taught us some lessons in work ethic and having a strong work ethic. That came from both our parents. Our mothers always worked hard and never complained. Our dad has always worked hard and never complained, and that, whether they intended for that to be a lesson for us or not, it definitely instilled in us that we should have a strong work ethic, and that we shouldn't complain about having the work, that we appreciate those things. And to Joanna's point and Susanna's point, the support has always been really, really strong from them, and no matter what we do. And I'll take it a little bit even a step further than what Joanna was saying. Joanna, she's obviously a little older than my brother and I. So, but what advantage we had that she might not have had is that our mother would, where she wasn't able to help Joanna with homework, she was able to make sure that Joanna helped Ramon and I with homework. So she became that tutor for us. So although our parents weren't able to teach us how to do that math or teach us how to, correctly do some English assignments, Joanna was there and Susanna as well, but Joanna was the one that always cracked the whip, unfortunately, in making sure that we did what we needed to do. So they found ways to make sure that they instilled that in us. So that's definitely something that I appreciate.
I'd like to add
a
couple things. So I think that what Jerry mentioned is like a major point. My dad was actually truly inspirational in the vein of self-teaching, right? It very kind of taught us that you don't have to, even though they pushed us to go within the four walls of a school or university, you don't necessarily have to learn everything there or believe that you can't learn something, because this man teaches himself and taught himself so many different things, so many different creative aspects of what he did. And I think that was truly inspirational for us and to push us. I think the other point also is that all of us are very, very sound in our faith, in our Christian faith. And that to me is the foundation, especially, for me personally, it's the foundation of everything I do, of who I am and why I do what I do. And we owe all of that to our mother, right? Like she pulled us by the ear and dragged us all forward to church every Sunday and through everything that we did, right? Like we never, ever missed a Sunday.
Ever. Mm-hmm. I know, like, all of some of those things that you guys are talking about, like, I know that life very well. My mother was a minister of music in our churches that we went to. And so, we were in church from can till can't, right? And if the church was open, we was in that thing. We were there, right? And a lot of time you don't understand stand that when you're going through those things, just like you guys talked about the discipline and the things that you were made to do. And, you know, but really to me, I think discipline gives you the ability to have the freedom to control your destiny. And, you know, it's evident in every one of your lives. You know, just like I said earlier, you wouldn't be here without those amazing things that have been instilled in you. And so that's why I wanted to make sure that, you know, I gave an opportunity to show appreciation to the parents, because like literally, like for real, you guys wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Like for real.
For real, for real.
For real, for real. Yeah. What I want to do now is just give each of you an opportunity just to go through and, you know, kind of, you know, talk about your social media and where people can check you out and follow you and show you some love with the things that you guys have going on.
Sure. So I guess I'll kick it off. Like I mentioned, I am doing career coaching and mentoring right now. So I am the Dream Career Doctor. And so I am on all the social medias. I have my website, dreamcareerdoctor.com, but I am constantly on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm also posting on LinkedIn, but I am posting as Susanna Reyes Lee. And definitely, I am the type of person that am sharing often inspirational, motivational, career development, like all things development. That is who I am. And basically, you heard why, because it's just been ingrained in us that we should always be developing in our lives, no matter what seems to be available, no matter the opportunities that to be available. So that is what I'm trying to teach other people, that even though they don't believe they have a dream career, they have it. They just have to make it happen. They just have to work a little harder, and I'm there to push them. And happy for anybody to reach out and talk to me and work with me.
There it is. All right. Next.
Well, I'm me on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I'm posting as Joanna Reyes, and I'm also beyond that. I do a lot of speaking engagements, have been very active in speaking and teaching and training for different opportunities. And then, of course, I actually coach individuals one-on-one. And my focus is really is not one particular area. It's really, what result do you want, and let me help you get there, right? There are a lot of different things that can get in our way, right? I always tell people that we know the strategy, we know what we should do, and oftentimes we sit around saying, I know what I need to do, why am I not doing it, right? That's where I come in. And I help people to identify what those barriers are. Sometimes it's accountability. Sometimes it's, hey, we need to work a little bit on mindset, which essentially is most of the battle, most of the time. So we spend a little time on that. But in working with me, we essentially get to actions that people are going to take to move them faster forward to their results.
So next, Ramon, how about yourself?
All right. Well, Ramon Reyes, and my main activity online is via LinkedIn. So anyone can find me there, Ramon Reyes at the Omni Hotel at the Battery, Atlanta. And honestly, what I try to do via that tool is just really share stories and talk about what we're doing here within the property, but honestly, what we're doing within the community as well. And it's funny because I've never really used that as a mechanism to say, hey, I'm looking for X, Y, Z to come work here at the property. I typically just share a little bit about what we're doing. And more often than not, I hear from a lot of people and say, hey, look, I don't know what you got going on there, but I like it and I want to be part of it. Not looking for a job or a gig right now, but you've got something special. So let me know how I can join your team. And what I typically like to share via that tool is, again, what we're doing here, but also how we're helping people better themselves. And I think my brother hit on this a little bit earlier. I like to think of everybody's time here as a stepping stone. How can I help you personally achieve your own goals? Yes, we want to be successful here. But if you have personal goals and I can help you achieve them through your experience here, then tell me how we can do that. And I think that's how we truly, achieve success, is if we do it together. And so that's typically the tool that I use. And honestly, I try to share more inspirational things there. And again, do a lot of storytelling.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Jerry?
So similar to Ramon, the primary social media outlet that I use is LinkedIn as well, and for a lot of the same reasons that Ramon uses them, is really just to recognize others, whether it be here in the hotel or recognize what other people are doing around in our industry or even in other industries. But I also find that I connect with a lot of folks, whether they be in our industry or in other industries, and it's two things. They have FOMO. They want to be part of it. Like Ramon mentioned, they want to be part of something great and they want to recognize it. But also, what I find is that there's a lot of people that will reach out and look for help, look for guidance. And not that I consider myself an expert at all. I just, I've worked hard and just grown through the ranks. But people have reached out to me via LinkedIn and told me about what they're doing, and then I've been able to just kind of chime in and give them at least what I think is appropriate or advice, or try to put them on the right path, try to connect them with the right people, and then they become, a lot of these folks are connections that I build and that I may not have ever met face to face, but I'm connecting with them on LinkedIn. They're reaching out to me for different questions that I might be able to help with, and I find it a great tool to help others, and then just to connect in general, and hopefully be able to cross paths even in the future with those individuals, whether we work in the same building or for the same company in the future or not.
Well, thank you. I want to say thank you again for you guys for coming on. Truly amazing what you all are doing. From where you come from, I mean, just blows me away. And I think for people to be able to hear the story, the background, to see that there's no excuses.
Yeah.
Hard work will get you. Discipline and hard work will get you wherever you want to go in life.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is, you have the ability to control your destiny, and you can.
You do. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Definitely.
Yes.
And one more thing that I wanted to kind of put the icing on the cake, I appreciate you, Chip, for bringing us together and allowing us to tell our story. We all have known and have had that feeling like we have something and we want to share it with other people.
Yes.
And you heard everyone talk about, how we're reaching out. But if anybody wants to reach out to us, we are a family that, again, we love to share our story because we hope that it's inspirational. We don't think we're a big deal. We really do not. I think I'm less of a big deal than these three people that you have over here. And so I love to hear them talk and tell their story.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of them. But we have all surpassed. What you have in front of you right now is first generation, all of it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So first generation professionals that have broken the mold, that have broken the chains, that have looked at what we have seen growing up and done the exact opposite because we knew that it was better. We knew that there were more opportunities. We have in front of you, we have high school graduates, we have college graduates, we have master's degrees, we have PhD degrees. None of that was shown to us. Nobody showed us how to do it. And if we would have waited for that, we would have never been here. So a lot of times we wait for others to give us the perfect picture, give us the perfect tools, and it just doesn't exist. You kind of have to go with what you got. And if a hammer is what you got, you use the hammer. If a screwdriver is what you got, you use the screwdriver. You make it work.
That's right.
That's
it. You gotta be willing to write your own story.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be willing to take the pen, take the power in your hand, and write your story. I think that a lot of people miss that. We play victim all the time, and I have a strong passion behind that because that's what I do every day. I help people to decide that they are going to make it different than what it is. And on another note, I think these three people aren't celebrating enough what they've
Go.
done. I think my sister should introduce herself as Dr. Susanna
Right.
Right.
Reyes
Yeah.
Yes.
Lee.
That is a
Right?
huge accomplishment. The
And-
first one in the family.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
A big family, a very
Yes.
big family. And then you have two minority Latino general managers of huge
Yes.
hotel properties,
Yes.
Huge.
right?
Big time.
People are calling them to move from city to city to go take over properties.
You know, the word that comes to mind, you know, for all of us, is relentless. You know, I think that growing up in this industry, and I'm pretty sure my sisters, because we're minorities and because we face challenges just like any other minority does, is, you know, my goal was always to make myself indispensable. And if I didn't know how to do it, I was going to figure it out. And that came from my dad. You know, we talked about the examples earlier of him just figuring things out with a great deal of creativity. For me, that was a goal almost daily when I jumped into this industry. I'm going to make myself indispensable. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. I remember walking up to the general manager when I was a doorman and saying, "Hey, you know, I'm doing well, making more money than anybody my age should be making." I was probably the youngest doorman in the city of New Orleans. But I looked at him and I said, "I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to grow. I want to learn. I want to cross train." And his exact words were, "Go for it." And that story, I honestly tell to this day, almost probably at least once a week when I interview candidates. And I say, look, if my feeling is a door was open for me, I'm going to open it for anyone who raises their hand. But raise your hand and then show it to me in your work, because that is what's really going to make me feel obligated to open up that door fully for you and embrace your growth and your development. And that's, again, all that, to your point, none of that, Chip, comes by chance. That was instilled in us when we were very, very young. And it stuck with us. Those messages that are just continuously repeating themselves in the back of our minds. And so relentless that's the theme. You know, we're gonna continue to do whatever we can, even to this day. If I don't know how to do something, I'll figure it out. My wife looks at me and says, "You know how to do that?" I was like, "No, but I'm gonna figure it out." You know, sometimes I mess up, but we're gonna figure some things out. You know, and just continue to focus on growth. And I don't think that there's any limit. And I think that's the other thing that's helped all of us is we look at things with no limitation. And if if there's a milestone, we reach it, we set another one. How can we continue to grow? Even, you know, for all of us, I mean, we whether it's one degree and then whether it's one position, just continue to grow. And through that process, I think, you know, looking at success as not only achieving a goal, but how did you achieve that goal through achieving your purpose of helping others along the way. And honestly, that's been a recipe for success, because it's not like we've done any of this by ourselves. There's always been people around us, including this group, where we've supported each other and pushed each other to do our very best.
It's good stuff, Jerry. You gotta hit us with something, Jerry. Hey, I don't know. Them other siblings, man.
It's a tough. These are tough acts to follow, Chip. These are tough acts to follow. No, I mean, you know, anything I say will really echo, you know, a lot of what they've said as well. And I think that one of the things that comes to mind for me is that because of the fact that we're relentless in setting goals for ourselves, we also, in some ways, are probably, maybe we might even be a little over the top in the same and expecting the same of others, because we see the potential in others and we want them to do the better for themselves. And that's something that also drives us as well, because we see so much opportunity in this world and we see so much missed opportunity, you know, by others. And we want to be part of, at least a small part of, helping inspire others to do just that. But not just inspiring in the words that we tell them, but also in the actions that we take to try to help them along the way. Because we don't just say it, we really put the effort behind it, put the time behind it, and the energy behind it to try to help them. Far too often, at least in this industry, and Ramon can probably attest to this too, there's so many people that see you and say, "Well, you know, you're a great bellman. You're good at what you do, or you're a great front desk agent, or you're a great this, great that." And because you're great at that, sometimes some people have the expectation that you're going to stay in that forever. Whereas when we see things, I know when I see people that are good at what they do, I'm asking them what's next. What's next? You know, what's next on your agenda? You can't stay here. So it's important. It's important to me to see those people that have the true potential, to see them grow. And at the end of the day, even if that means that they leave my property, I'm okay with that, because I tell them, I'm like, well, we're going to cross paths again. There's a high likelihood that we'll cross paths again. And where you're going, you're just going to do homework before you come back to me in a bigger and better role. So I think that that's really something that is probably true for all of us in each of our fields, or even in the people that we interact with.
That's awesome. I want to echo you a little bit, Susanna. You talked about they're not giving a lot of credit. And there's a hashtag that I have that I use. It's a humble and hungry. And so I truly believe that you guys are the same way. Super humble, but super hungry to go get it. And when I say hungry, that's like with 3 or 4 O's, right? No, you hungry. You got to make a little hungry, right? And I think it's awesome when you can operate in that manner, because you truly receive the blessings from it. Not that you are striving, doing it to get blessings. That's not but you're doing it because it's the right thing to do.
That's right.
Take care of people, treat people right, look out for folks. Ramon, just like you said, learn some things. I just want to help others. Just help others. And so that's what it's all about. The big men have a special place for you guys.
Look, I tell you. Yeah, I look at, I was asked this question the other day in terms of leadership style, and immediately I said servant leadership, because that's what I'm here. I'm here to serve others. That's my purpose. And I'm the first one to tell people here in this building, I might have the general manager role, but my role is no more important than anybody else's. In fact, if tomorrow the dishwasher doesn't show up and I don't show up, who are you going to miss the most? It's not me, because I'm not washing the dishes. So it's important to put things in perspective and uplift people, help people. Again, use whatever they're in right now as a stepping stone, if that's what they want, but also push them to continue to look at themselves and say, how can I better myself? What else can I get out of this opportunity? And I honestly think it's a true blessing. And I look at the reason that I'm in this position. I'm in this position to help others. I'm fortunate to be put in this position so that I can do that. And I use every resource that I have in this building and through my contacts to do just that. And I think that, again, it's not rocket science. Our success is achieved through, especially for me in my industry, it's achieved through other people. So I have to value them, and I want to value them, and I want to make sure that I continue to focus on how they develop themselves both in and outside of this building.
Well, you all are definitely blessed to be a blessing indeed. And I wish you all continued success in everything that you're doing. And I want to say again, thank you so much for taking the time to interview with me. I think it's amazing. That's probably like the 10th time I said that. Like amazing, the things that you guys are doing. And I wish you continued success.
Thank
you very
so
much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for the opportunity, Chip.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.